Hello everyone. It's so nice to see you guys again. I truly hope you're all having a wonderful weekend with your family. As for today, what I have here is an orchid that appears to be suffering from severe root rot, a condition most commonly caused by overwatering or poor drainage that keeps the roots perpetually wet. You can tell right away by looking through the clear pot. The massive roots inside are dark brown or even black in color, shriveled, and soft to the touch. Healthy Phalaenopsis roots, on the other hand, should be silvery white when dry and bright green when moist. That's the sign they're alive and actively absorbing water. But here, the difference is clear. The roots have lost that firmness and structure, which means they can no longer do their job. The leaves also show signs of distress. They're limp, wrinkled, and a bit leathery in texture. This happens because the damaged roots can't transfer water or nutrients upward anymore. When we remove the plant from its old pot, we can finally get a clearer look at what's really going on beneath the surface. And right away, it's easy to see just how severe the damage is. Many of the roots are dark brown or almost black in color, soft, and break apart easily when touched. Some might even have that slightly sour smell, a clear sign of rot setting in. Healthy roots should be firm and springy, but these ones are collapsing under the slightest pressure. You can even see that some sections have completely hollowed out, leaving behind thin, wiry strands instead of full, plump roots. All of this tells us one thing. The orchid has been sitting in moisture for far too long, and the roots have suffocated without enough air circulation. When this happens, the plant system gets thrown completely out of balance. The roots, which are supposed to draw in life, instead begin to decay and spread that damage upward. The leaves might look limp or leathery, and the plant starts to lose its overall strength, even if there's still water in the pot. So now, the first and most important step is to start fresh. We'll need to carefully remove all of the old substrate, whether it's sphagnum moss, bark, or any other medium, until the roots are completely bare. Take your time with this process. Use your fingers to gently tease the material away from the roots, shaking or blowing off loose pieces if necessary. Be patient. These roots are fragile, and any rough movement can cause further tearing. What we want is a clean, open view of the root system, so we can properly assess which parts can still support the plant and which parts need to go. Now that we're left with a bare root orchid, what's next is to carefully trim away any part of the root system that can no longer provide nutrients for the plant. This is where precision and patience really matter. Take a clean pair of scissors or pruning shears. Make sure they've been disinfected beforehand, either with rubbing alcohol or boiling water, and begin by inspecting each root one by one. Healthy roots should feel firm, slightly elastic, and appear green or silvery when dry, while unhealthy ones will be soft, hollow, dark brown, or even black in color. As you go along, gently squeeze each root between your fingers. If it collapses easily or if the outer layer slides off, that root is completely dead, and it's best to remove it. Keep trimming until only the firm, living roots remain. It might feel a little heartbreaking at first, especially when you realize how much of the root system has decayed, but this step is absolutely essential for recovery. Leaving rotted roots behind would only trap more moisture and cause further infection. And for what I can see here, this orchid has suffered quite a lot. Most of its roots are already gone or too damaged to be saved. So in this case, we might actually have to cut off the entire root system and start over. It might sound drastic, but don't worry. Orchids are resilient plants. With the right environment and consistent care, they can regrow a completely new set of roots in just a few weeks. Now we're going to give the orchid a nice, gentle wash. Use a soft spray of clean water to rinse away any lingering debris or bits of old substrate still clinging to the roots. Make sure the water pressure isn't too strong. We don't want to damage the remaining healthy tissue. A soft, mist-like spray works best, enough to loosen dirt but gentle enough not to tear the roots. Move the orchid around slightly as you wash, so every side gets rinsed evenly. This also helps flush out any leftover bacteria or fungus that might be hiding deep between the root layers. If your plant has no roots left at all, don't worry. This washing step is still important. It removes all the lingering residue that could interfere with new root growth later. Take your time here and make sure the entire base of the plant is clean and fresh before moving on. Once the rinse is complete, hold the orchid up and let the excess water drip off naturally. Then, you can lightly shake it to remove any remaining droplets. The goal is to keep the plant hydrated but not soaking wet, as we'll soon move on to drying and cleaning before the recovery process truly begins. Let's start by making our recovery solution. The first ingredient we're going to use is katuk, also known as sweet leaf, a wonderful natural source of nutrients that can help stimulate new root growth and strengthen the plant's recovery. These leaves are rich in chlorophyll, vitamins, and natural enzymes that can support healthy cell regeneration in orchids. For our second ingredient, we'll be using this beautiful lotus leaf bulb. Even though it hasn't fully opened yet, it still contains a concentrated amount of nutrients within its core. What you want to do first is slowly peel the lotus flower. I know it might sound a bit harsh, but remember, this is a tutorial, and this flower is one of our key ingredients, so we're simply using what's right in front of us, and nothing goes to waste. Start gently by removing each petal one by one. Take your time, and don't rush the process. The petals might still feel soft and slightly waxy, which means they're rich with moisture and natural compounds that we'll be extracting later. Next, move on to the receptacle, that central part that holds the developing seeds. Carefully peel it away from the base of the flower. It might feel a bit firm, almost sponge-like in texture. We're going to use this part too, along with the surrounding stamens, which are the fine, thread-like structures circling the center. These sections are full of organic enzymes and natural minerals that can support plant recovery and boost root regeneration when processed correctly. Now onto the katuk, also known as sweet leaf. If you aren't from Asia, you might not be too familiar with this plant, so let me show you exactly how to use it. We're only going to need the leaves, since that's where most of the nutrients are stored. The stems are edible too, but for our fertilizer, the leaf alone will give us the best concentration of natural vitamins and chlorophyll. Start by holding the stem firmly in one hand, and with the other, gently strip the leaves downward, kind of like how you'd prepare herbs for cooking. You'll notice the leaves are soft, slightly thick, and have a pleasant green aroma. That's a sign they're fresh and full of life. As you remove them, place the leaves aside. Because the lotus flower parts are a bit too large for the blender, we'll start by using a clean pair of scissors to cut them into smaller, more manageable pieces. This helps the blender process everything evenly later on. Take your time here, cut the petals, stamens, and receptacle into small sections. About 2 to 3 centimeters long should be perfect. The goal is to make sure each piece can release its nutrients easily when blended. As you cut, you'll notice that the petals still hold a faint, pleasant fragrance. And that's one of the beautiful things about working with natural ingredients. They still carry the essence of life, even when we're preparing them for something new. Try to avoid shredding them too finely. We just want them small enough to blend smoothly without clumping. Once all the parts are neatly cut, transfer them into a small bowl or container. Make sure to keep everything together: the petals, stamens, and that lotus base we peeled earlier. Once that's done, we're going to take all of our prepared ingredients, the lotus petals, the stamens, and the receptacle, and place them gently into the blender. Make sure everything goes in evenly so the blades can reach all the pieces. Next, fill the blender with clean water, Room temperature is best, since cold water can slow down the release of nutrients. Once the water's in, secure the lid tightly, and then blend everything together for about 1 to 2 minutes. When you're done blending, grab yourself a fine strainer or a piece of clean cheesecloth. We're going to pour the entire mixture through it to separate out all the compounds that couldn't be broken down by the blender. Do this slowly, letting gravity do most of the work. Don't rush it. You'll start to see the liquid gently dripping through, leaving behind the thicker plant fibers and bits of lotus pulp. If needed, you can use a spoon to press lightly on the mixture to help extract every last drop of goodness. If you're unsure whether the solution is too concentrated, you can simply add a little more clean water to balance it out. This helps make the mixture gentler and safer for your orchid's delicate roots. Remember, orchids prefer mild, diluted nutrients rather than strong mixtures. A solution that's too dense might overwhelm the plant. Now we'll move on to the caring process. Start by taking a clean tissue or a soft cloth, then dip it gently into the solution we just made. Make sure it's fully soaked so it can pick up all those nutrients evenly. Once it's ready, begin wiping it carefully across the leaves of the orchid. Move slowly from the base of the leaf toward the tip. This helps remove any dust, residue, or leftover bacteria that might still be clinging to the surface. You want to cover both sides of each leaf, the top for cleanliness and shine, and the underside because that's where pests and fungus often hide. As you wipe, you'll notice a subtle sheen appearing on the leaf surface. That's the plant absorbing a fine layer of nutrients directly through its skin. It also helps improve photosynthesis and overall leaf health, allowing the plant to breathe and function better. If you see any damaged or yellowed spots, don't scrub too hard. Just glide the tissue gently over them. The goal is to nourish, not stress the plant further. Once you've cleaned all the leaves, you can use a dry part of the tissue to lightly dab away any excess moisture so the surface doesn't stay too wet. Now, pour the solution into a clean container. Make sure it's large enough to fit your orchid comfortably without bending or crowding the roots. What we want to do here is submerge only the roots of the plant in the liquid while keeping the leaves and stem above the surface. This ensures that the nutrients go exactly where they're needed most to the root zone. Gently lower the orchid into the container. Make sure all the roots are fully covered by the solution. You might notice a few small air bubbles rising up at first. We're going to let it sit in the solution for about 40 minutes. This gives the roots plenty of time to soak up the nutrients and moisture. After 40 minutes, let's take a look at our orchid. And right away, you can already notice some slight but promising changes. The roots, which earlier looked dull and lifeless, are starting to regain a bit of color. Some of them may appear slightly plumper or have a faint greenish tint returning to their surface. That's a clear sign they've begun to rehydrate and are slowly coming back to life. If you touch them gently, you might feel that they're not as fragile as before. A few have regained some firmness, while others are still soft, and that's perfectly fine. Healing takes time, and this early response is a good indication that the solution is doing its job. You might also notice that the plant looks a little fresher overall. The leaves won't suddenly spring up just yet, but they'll seem less droopy, showing that the inner cells are reabsorbing water again. Now let us do what this channel does best, applying cinnamon powder to the plant. This step might look simple, but it's one of the most important parts of helping an orchid recover from root rot. Using a small, clean paint brush, lightly dip the tip into the cinnamon powder. You don't need a lot, just a thin coating will do. Then, carefully brush it onto the trimmed areas of the roots and any open cuts on the stem. Make sure to cover them evenly but gently, avoiding the inner crown of the plant where new leaves grow. Cinnamon acts as a natural antifungal and antibacterial agent. It helps to seal the wounds and prevent harmful bacteria or fungi from infecting the fresh cuts, allowing the orchid to heal safely. It's a great alternative to chemical fungicides and perfectly safe when used sparingly like this. Take your time while applying it. Be gentle, patient, and precise. I hope you guys like coffee, because today we're not brewing it for ourselves, we're brewing it for our pine bark. Go ahead and grab a clean container. Add in about 1 teaspoon of coffee powder. You can use instant coffee or even brewed coffee leftovers if that's what you have on hand. The key here is moderation. We just want a mild coffee solution, not something too strong. Give it a gentle stir until the coffee is fully dissolved and the water turns a nice light brown color. This coffee mixture will help enrich the pine bark with trace minerals and mild acidity, creating a friendlier environment for your orchid roots later on. Once that's ready, carefully pour the coffee mixture into a separate pot filled with your pine bark. Make sure all the bark pieces are evenly soaked. You should see them darken slightly as they absorb the liquid. That's how you know it's working. We're going to let the pine bark sit and soak for a full day. This helps wash away excess dust, soften the bark, and allow the coffee's mild nutrients to infuse. After one full day, our pine bark is now ready, perfectly soaked, soft, and infused with a gentle coffee aroma. Now it's time to prepare a brand new home for our orchid. We're going to start with a pot that has clear drainage holes. This is very important because it helps us monitor the moisture level inside and prevents excess water from being trapped, which can lead to root rot again. Normally, we would fill the pot with a layer of pine bark first, but in this case, our poor orchid barely has any roots left to hold itself steady. So instead, we'll need to position the plant into the pot first. Gently hold it by the base, making sure the stem sits just above the rim of the pot. Not too deep, not too high. Once it feels balanced, begin slowly adding the soaked pine bark around it. Use your fingers or a small stick to help tuck the bark gently between the gaps, making sure the plant stays upright without being squeezed too tightly. Take your time here. We want the bark to cradle the base of the orchid securely, giving it support as new roots begin to grow in the coming weeks. The soaked bark will also help maintain just enough moisture while still allowing plenty of airflow. Exactly what a recovering orchid needs to rebuild its strength. Once the pot is filled, give it a light tap to help everything settle. And there we go, a fresh start for our little fighter, ready to begin its recovery journey. Now we will move on to the finishing touch, filling the top layer with moss. This step might seem small, but it plays a big role in keeping the orchid comfortable and hydrated. Gently take a handful of clean, damp moss. Sphagnum moss works best for this, and start spreading it evenly across the surface of the pine bark. Don't press it down too hard. Instead, let it rest lightly on top like a soft blanket. The moss will help maintain humidity around the base of the plant and slow down evaporation, which is especially helpful since our orchid is still regrowing its roots. As you work your way around the pot, make sure the moss isn't covering the crown of the plant. We want to keep that area open so it can breathe and prevent any moisture from pooling there, which could cause rot. You can lightly mist the moss if it feels a bit dry, just enough to keep it soft and fresh looking. Once it's all in place, step back and take a look. It already looks like a little green oasis. The moss gives the pot a natural, lively touch while creating the perfect microenvironment for recovery. This simple layer will go a long way in helping your orchid retain just the right amount of moisture as it starts to heal and grow strong again. After 4 weeks, you'll start to see just how much the plant has changed. And trust me, it's a beautiful transformation. The most noticeable difference will be the new roots. You'll see them emerging from the base of the orchid, plump, silvery white, and healthy looking. A strong sign that your care and patience are paying off. These fresh roots often appear slightly green at the tips, showing they're actively growing and absorbing moisture. It's the orchid's way of telling you, I'm alive and thriving again. You may also notice that the leaves have begun to perk up. They'll look firmer, glossier, and less wrinkled compared to before. Some orchids even start to show the faint beginnings of a new leaf or a tiny spike if the recovery environment has been especially good. The moss and bark will be nicely balanced by this point, staying moist longer but never soggy. Exactly the condition orchids love. Take a moment to appreciate this progress. It's proof that with gentle care, consistency, and a little natural help, even a severely damaged orchid can come back to life. This stage is also where you can slowly return to your normal routine. Light misting, moderate watering, and occasional wiping of the leaves with the same natural solution to keep everything clean and healthy. And there you have it, another orchid saved and on its way to a full recovery. From what started as a struggling, root-rotted plant, we've managed to bring it back to life step by step. Cleaning off the damaged roots, preparing a gentle homemade solution, giving it a proper soak, and finally setting it up in a cozy new pot with fresh pine bark and moss. After just a few weeks of consistent care, you can already see how resilient these beautiful plants can be when given a little patience and love. Remember, orchid care isn't about perfection. It's about understanding the plant's rhythm. Not too much water, not too little, just the right balance of light, air, and attention. So if your orchid ever looks hopeless, don't give up. With time, even the weakest one can surprise you. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on a notification bell so you won't miss the next tutorial. I got more orchid tips, home fertilizer recipes, and care routines coming soon. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care, stay patient, and keep growing with your orchids.